chapter 14.
Amen.
Matthew chapter 14. And I want to lift up verses 22 through 29. I'll be reading tonight from the New International Version. But regardless of what translation you have, it should read so differently that you'll be unable to follow. Matthew chapter 14, beginning at verse number 22. If you have it, say, I'm there.
I'm there.
If you're still turning, say, wait for me. I don't mind. My flight doesn't leave until tomorrow. I have no way to be.
I'm glad.
Beginning at verse 22, here's what it says. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out with them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. I want to preach tonight as a spiritual guide with this thought in our hearts and minds. The danger of missed opportunities. I want to talk about the danger of missed opportunities. Beloved, I've learned that life is not simply measured by clocks and calendars, but by the moments we maximize.
Right.
Moments we seize. Is what we call opportunity. And opportunities are heaven's invitation to step into the impossible. Opportunities are intersections where human capacity collides with divine capability. Some opportunities shout, other opportunities whisper, but all of them shape your destiny.
Yes, sir.
Now, scientists say to us that the brain has what they call a window of opportunity. That is a small space, a sacred second, where courage must conquer caution. If hesitation creeps in, you miss the window.
Right.
And if you miss the window, you miss your moment. Nudge the person next to you and tell them, don't miss your moment. Again, you all, the brain has a window. And that window requires courage to rise above caution. I'm telling you this because if caution cancels your courage, you forfeit your future, block your blessing, and quite possibly miss your miracle. Y'all talk to me. That's exactly what we see happening in this familiar passage. If you give me just a few moments to peruse the parameter of this particular preaching pericope, I'm going to offer you some pullable points and I'm going to get out your way. Is that all right? The Bible says that Jesus sends the disciples to cross the water. And the Bible says that after prayer, he comes walking on the very thing that had been working to take them under. Did you catch what I just said? Listen, what has him in fear is literally under his feet. I know it's still early in the sermon, but somebody should have said something right there.
Yeah.
The very thing that's been trying to take them under is under his command, under his control, and literally under his feet. So the disciples see Jesus, but they don't recognize him as Jesus because they weren't expecting to see Jesus. That's a whole sermon by itself. They did not recognize him because they were not expecting to see him. Listen, Peter with boldness says, Lord, if it's you. And if you look at it in the Greek text, the Greek word is not if. It literally says since. So what he says is, since it's you, let me step where you step. Let me walk where I see you walking. And Jesus responds with one word. He simply says, come. And we know the rest of the story. But tonight, listen, I don't want us to focus on Peter. Listen, that's easy preaching. That's predictable preaching. I don't want us to focus on Peter tonight. I want us to focus on the other 11. Don't miss that now. I know normally Peter is the star of the story. But tonight I want us to look at the other 11. Because here's what I want you to consider. Same storm, same Savior, same boat, same battle, same blessing in front of each of them, but no boldness to move. Did you get what I said? I said same storm, same Savior, same boat, same battle, same blessing in front of each of them, but no boldness to move. Tell your neighbor, don't miss out, because you won't move out. Because here's the truth. Haters don't hate because they didn't hear what you heard. Haters hate because they didn't seize what you seized. The text says that Jesus gave one word, come. 12 men heard it, but only one man heeded it. 12 men in the same place, but only one pounced on the possibility. You see, this passage is not just about Peter's faith. It's about missed opportunity. Don't touch your neighbor, don't nudge your neighbor, touch yourself and say, I won't miss mine. Listen, here are the disciples, men who had been given authority in Matthew 10 to heal the sick, raise the dead, and cast out devils. Men who had witnessed Jesus multiply fish and loaves, silence a previous storm, and open blinded eyes. They had history, they had evidence, but in that moment they lacked audacity. I'm going somewhere with this. Now, Peter experienced something that nobody else in history ever experienced. Peter did something that nobody else in history had ever done except Peter. Peter walked on water. And watch this. And that miracle was not just about his ability, it was about his availability. See, Peter simply made himself available to what others refused to attempt. See, Peter was the one who responded, but I believe the invitation and the opportunity was directed toward everybody who had faith enough to dare to do it. I don't believe the opportunity was for Peter's miracle alone. I think it was available to the whole group. And they were close enough to see the supernatural, but too scared to step into it. Come back to me. See, the other 11, they didn't drown that night. But they had to live for the rest of their life with the reality they could have walked on water, but did not. Did you what I just said? The other 11 didn't drown that night, but they lived the rest of their life rehearsing in their mind what they could have experienced, but they did not. Listen, I don't know who this is for, but listen, I believe God sent me all the way to Los Angeles to tell some of that true LA that this year cannot be a repeat of last year. That this season will not be a repeat of last season. That this moment will not be another missed moment. You can't let your fear cause you to forfeit what God has planned for your future. See, you cannot spend this year lamenting over what you lack or musing over what you missed. The devil is a lie. If God says come, we're walking. If God says come, we're moving. If God says come, we're getting out of the boat. If God says come, we are maximizing the moment. Somebody holler now. N-O-W, holler now. No opportunity is wasted. I wish I had somebody holler now. Psychologists tell us that fear is often stronger than regret in the moment. But regret lingers longer than fear beyond the moment. Did you hear what I said? Fear is often stronger than regret in that moment. But regret lingers longer than fear beyond the moment. What are you saying, David? I'm saying that fear fades once the threat passes. But regret revisits you in the quiet moments of your soul. See, some of y'all are listening right now. You can't get excited about this moment, the possibility, the potential, the promise of this moment, because you're remembering the coulda, shoulda, wouldas of last year, your last season, your last opportunity. Talk back to me. See, you missed your moment and now you live with regret. You know what I just said? I said you missed your moment and you live with regret. And you don't have to tell anybody that you have regret. It's written all over your face. I wish I had somebody. Listen, I ain't talking about what I read. I'm telling you what somebody told me. As a matter of fact, listen, it was just a couple of weeks ago, you all, I walked past Angela and I could see the regret all over her face. Because when she looked at me, she realized she had missed her moment. I wish I had to tell you what I just said. Listen, there's a danger in missing your moment. Watch this. I wish I had somebody. But watch this, you all. And regret is the residue of mismanaged missed opportunities. See, regret is the aching of knowing you could have, you should have, you would have, but you didn't. And the reason I'm preaching this is because I've discovered that some miracles will never be seen from the safety of a boat. Preach Christian today. See, watch this now. Staying in the boat keeps you in control, but it also keeps you confined. You know what I just said? I said staying in the boat keeps you in control, but it also keeps you confined. Here it is. Faith requires you to step into what doesn't make sense, what's unexplainable, what's irrational, what's ridiculous. But if you step over into it, you will discover that God's got power over it. You know what I just said? If you will step into it, you will discover that God's got power. Who am I preaching to? Listen, you could have started the business, but you stayed in the boat. You could have been leading instead of just looking, but you stayed in the boat. You could have been making decisions instead of complaining about the decisions that's been made, but you stayed in the boat. You could have gone back to school, but you stayed. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Listen, you could have owned instead of listened, but you stayed in the boat. You should have applied for the promotion, but you stayed in the boat. And now you live with the reality of an unlived opportunity. I can't hear nobody. Visions delayed, dreams deferred, revelations not realized, not because God didn't open the door, but because you didn't move when he said go. And if you don't move when God says so, you risk missing a moment that may never come again. You know what I'm saying? If you miss the moment, it may never come again. I told y'all, I saw Angela a couple of 2 weeks ago, and I could see the regret on her face. And when she got ready to speak to me, I said, you missed your moment. I wish I had somebody. See, some opportunities may never come again. Listen, I know. I just got here. I don't know you. You don't really know me. So I ain't going to try to speak for you. I ain't going to get in your business. I'm talking about Chris Davis. Is that all right? Listen, let me speak for me. I have missed enough moments to know that I can't miss the next one. Am I here by myself? I have missed enough moments where I know I cannot miss the next one. See, I have missed enough moments and now I'm saying, God, if you show me another door, I'm walking through it. If you show me another path, I'm walking on it. If you show me another possibility, I can't get no help in here. When Jesus says, stop, he's not just speaking to Peter. He was speaking to everybody that was bold enough to move. Ask the person next to you, how bold are you going to be in this moment? That's how bold are you going to be in this moment? Because watch this. Let the rest of tell you something. Are you ready for this? Listen, I'm going to give you this for free. Are you ready for it? Listen, I don't even need an offering for this bag. I'm going to give you this for free. Are you ready? If you going to walk on water, you got to get out the boat. You know what I said? I said, if you're going to walk on water, you've got to get out of the boat. If you're going to step into your destiny, you've got to be willing to take the risk of the waves. Because watch this. David, what about sinking? The only thing worse than sinking is never stepping out. I wish I had somebody. The only thing worse than sinking is never stepping out. And listen, I don't know how you feel about it, but I would rather be a wet wave walker who is trembling and trusting than a safe boat sitter who missed an opportunity. Listen, where is my wet and willing crowd? Where my folks are going to say, listen, I may be wet, but I'm with it. I would rather be a wet wave walker than dry and standing alone. 11. I'm about to help 11 of y'all get out the boat. I wish I had somebody. Listen. 12. I'm about to help 12 of y'all get out of the boat. When Christ calls you to come, are you ready for this? He has already factored in the forecast, the fixed fight, and the finalized finish. Somebody should have said something right there. Listen, when Christ summons you to step out, he has already sized up the storm, settled the struggle, and secured your success. You ain't got to tell God what might happen. God already knows what's going to happen. I wish I had somebody. As a matter of fact, watch this. I'm here tonight on assignment. Listen, your pastor told me to make myself at home. When we upstairs, he said, David, just have your way. But listen, since I can have my way, let me tell you who I am. I'm not Pastor Davis, I'm not Dr. Davis, I'm Captain Davis. I am the captain of what I'm calling the SS True Love. I'm True LA. I wish I had somebody. And I'm going to a officially make everybody in here my first officer on this ship. Now look down your row, first officer, and tell everybody on your row, you getting out this boat tonight. I wish I had somebody. So you getting out this boat tonight. Listen, you're not going to miss your next opportunity. You're not going to miss your next moment. Listen, you're going to get wet tonight. I wish I had somebody. You're going to get wet tonight because God's going to show you some stuff while you're walking that you never will see while you waiting. I wish I had somebody. God said, I'll show you while you're walking, but you cannot see while you're waiting. Listen, I am a Baptist preacher, so you already know I got 3 points in the close. I wish I had somebody. You ain't got to wonder when I'm going to quit, how long you going to be. When I get to point number 3, I'm done. I wish I had somebody. I got 3 points tonight, and I'm going to get out your way. Are y'all praying with me? Listen, I'm going to show you 3 things. 1, 2, 3. 3 things that happen when you stay stuck in the boat. Number 1, you can be in proximity and still miss possibility. Did you just say? I said you can be in proximity and still miss possibilities. It's about to get good now. Listen, let me tell you something. The most challenging part of this text is not that Peter almost sank, but that the others never even tried. They were close enough to hear the invitation, but too bound by fear to seize the opportunity. They were close enough to see Jesus, but not bold enough to obey Jesus. And proximity without participation will have you present but powerless. You'll be there, but you won't have nothing to show for it. I wish I had somebody. See, proximity without participation will have you in the room, but still out of reach. I can't get no help in here. I can't get no help. I said, yeah. You can be in proximity to purpose. What do you mean, David? That is, you can be around other dreamers, around other visionaries, around other creatives, around other believers, and still live small because you won't risk stepping out. And let me rest to tell you something. There is nothing worse than being around big folks and everybody knows you small. I wish I had somebody. Hear me? Because see, proximity is not the same thing as possession. See, being close to it is not the same thing as having it. You know what I just said? I said being close to it is not the same thing as having it. Did you hear what I just said? I said being close to it is not the same thing as having it. I've got 5 children, 1 boy, 4 girls. Bless the Lord, they're all grown and gone. But every now and then, they decide to come back home and pay us a visit. And whenever they come in my house, I wish I had somebody. Listen, they know they didn't buy it, so it doesn't belong to them. They're close to it, but they don't own it. I wish I had somebody. They get it. Because proximity is not the same thing as possession. See, just because you're near it does not mean you automatically get to walk in it. See, watch this, I love this. Social psychologists, you know what they call it? They call it the bystander effect. See, the bystander effect is when people in a group assume someone else will act. So nobody does, because everybody's assuming that somebody else will. So everybody is watching and nobody's moving. I wish I had somebody. See, the disciples assume that the safety they sensed by the lack of movement from the majority would excuse their silence. You know what I just said? I said they assume that the lack of movement from the majority would excuse their silence. Here's what they assume. Since the bulk of us, the group of us, ain't doing nothing, then it ain't going to be about nothing. I wish I had somebody. But here's what they miss. Destiny doesn't come to the crowd. It comes to the one that moves. You know what I just said? I said destiny doesn't come to the crowd. It comes to the one that moves. So based on the bystander effect, we can safely assume that since Peter was the only one moving, he probably looked like a fool. Don't miss what I just said. Because you do recognize when you decide to step out and everybody else is standing still, you're going to look like a fool. When you're the only one moving, when you're the only one moving in God's command, folk going to wonder if you've lost your mind. Why that fool moving and everybody else standing still? Why she trying to do it and ain't nobody else doing it? Talk to me, somebody. He said, when you're the only one moving and everybody else standing still, they're going to question your sanity. But watch this. This ain't for everybody. Listen, this is for 15 of y'all, and I'm going to make 16. I'd rather look like a fool with a blessing than to be a fool who never got a blessing. I wish I had something. I'd rather possibility. But I see something else. If you keep it count, this is point number 2. Tell your neighbor he's halfway done. I wish I had somebody. This is point number 2 right here. Watch this. Don't confuse security with safety. Don't confuse security with safety. When the disciples chose to stay in the boat, they chose what felt safe. See, the boat had wood beneath their feet, oars in their hand, and sails over their head. But here's what I need you to get. Safety is about the environment. Safety is the attempt to avoid danger by staying in a controlled, predictable space. See, safety is the comfort of the familiar, even when it keeps you confined. This is what we've always done. This is where we've always been. This is how we've always responded. That's comfortable because that seems safe. See, safety is the illusion of control that often limits possibility. See, safety is settling for what is instead of stepping into what could be. See, that's why some people, I ain't talking about nobody, I'm just talking about, I'm talking about your cousin. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about your cousin. See, that's why some people are living beneath their potential because they like to play it in a safe, controlled, predictable space. But see, security is not about environment. Security is about presence. Okay, you're going to make me work. See, true security isn't found in what you're standing on. True security is found in who you're standing with. Did you hear what I just said? See, security ain't about what you're standing on. It's who you're standing with. See, security comes from who I'm attached to. See, security comes from knowing that you're anchored to someone who's strong enough to carry you through the storm. I wish I had somebody. Did you hear what I just said? That's what security is. See, the boat may look safe, but the only real security that night was outside of the boat, standing on the waves with Jesus. I wish I had somebody. You see, humans often prioritize safety over security because we like to be in control. We like what's predictable. We prefer loss aversion. That is, we fear losing what we can see more than we trust gaining what we cannot see. So we cling to the visible boat because it feels safer, even though the boat is rocking and filling with water. You know what I just said? Even though the boat is rocking and filling with water, we would still rather stay in the boat. And when you find safety in the wrong thing, what you really have is what I want to call counterfeit comfort. I wish I had somebody. That's what you have, counterfeit comfort. Listen, tell that person next to you and say, neighbor, without him, you can be safe. But with him, you can be secure. That neighbor didn't believe it, find you another neighbor. That neighbor don't believe it, find you another neighbor. And say, neighbor, without him, you can be safe. With him, you can be secure. As a matter of fact, that's what the songwriter was talking about when it says safe and secure from all along. I wish I had somebody leaning on the everlasting arms. Here's what I'm telling you so far. Number one, you can be in proximity and still miss possibility. In other words, you can be close to it, but it doesn't mean you automatically get it. Number two, don't confuse security with safety. Safety is about being protected in the water. Security is about being with the one who walks on the water. I wish I had somebody. Here's the last thing I need you to get, and I'm going to get them out the way. Are you ready for it? Here it is. I'm going to holler for myself right here. Are you ready for this last move? Here it is. The reward will always be greater than the risk. Will always be greater than the risk. Pastor, I was unpacking this text. The Holy Spirit gave me something that almost messed me up. Can I tell y'all? See, those other 11, they only knew Jesus as a storm calmer. But Peter knew him as a storm calmer who turned Peter into a storm walker who then saw Jesus be a water holder. Okay, you missed it. The other 11 saw him as a storm calmer. But Peter, because he stepped out of the boat, he didn't just know him as a storm calmer, but he knew him as a water holder who turned Peter into a storm walker. Y'all don't know what that is. Listen, what you see and learn about Jesus and what you see and learn about yourself is determined by whether or not you step out the boat. You see, the others stayed the same, but Peter's faith was stretched that day. Peter learned that storms can't stop what God said. Peter learned that singing does not mean failing. Peter learned that even when your faith wavers, Jesus still holds on to you. Peter learned that even when you're sinking, if you call on the name of Jesus, he'll reach way down and pick you. Somebody should have said something like that. Some revelation is predicated on risk. Until you risk some things, there are some things you'll never know about God. I said until you risk some things, there are some things that you will never know about God. And some things you'll never know about yourself. Because it's in the taking the risk of faith that revelations about both you and God are disclosed. See, comfort zones protect you, but they also paralyze you.
Yeah.
You see, growth requires guts. You know what I just said? I said growth requires guts. And some folk don't grow because they ain't got no guts. Some folk never get any more than what they've had, never go any further than what they've gone, never see any more than what they've seen because they ain't got no guts. I wish I had somebody. See, sometimes going and seeing ain't about a plane ticket, it's about guts. You know what I just said? See, it's not always about the finances. Sometimes it's about some guts. Ask your neighbor, have you got guts enough to grow? Ask them, have you got guts enough to grow? See, some people never mature spiritually because they're never willing to risk anything. I can't hear nobody. As a matter of fact, let me come a little closer to you. If you never risk rejection, I'm about to find 6 of y'all now. If you never risk rejection, you'll never know that God uses rejection to move you on to a better selection. I wish I had some. What I just said? I said, if you never risk rejection, you never know that God uses that to move you on to a better selection. Y'all know what I'm getting ready to say, don't you? You know what I'm getting ready to say, don't you? See, Angela didn't know that her rejection was going to move me on to, I wish I had somebody here. Rejection moves you to a better selection. So I said, let me help some of y'all. See, you don't want to move because you keep saying it might not work. What if it doesn't work? What if it fails? Here it is. If you never risk failure, you'll never know that God can turn failure into something fantastic. You'll never learn that God will be with you every step of the way. I'm trying to help somebody. All the 11 could say was, we saw it. That's all they could say. When the storm finally subsided, they got out the boat, got out the water, made it back home. The most interesting thing they could say about Jesus was, we saw it. When he was alive. You had villages of people who could say the same thing. We saw him too. That don't make you special. I wish I had somebody. All the 11 could say was, we saw him. But let me tell you what Peter could say. Peter could say, listen, I walked with him. He said, I sat before him, and then I got saved by him. You miss what I just said. The other 11 said, I saw him. But Peter said, I walked with him. I talked to him. I sang in front of him. Then I got saved. That explains why different folks act different ways in church. Now I know y'all are making popular things. I'm just talking about what I see in Memphis. In Memphis, I see different folks act different ways in the same church. Two folks can come to the same church, sit on the same pew, in the same section, in the same song, in the same sermon, and act two different ways. You know what I just said? Listen, two folks can come to the same church, sit on the same pew, in the same section, hear the same sermon, sing the same song, and act two different ways. You got one of them that's smiling from the moment they hit the parking lot, and the other one who never smiles, never says amen, never speaks to the folk around him. Talk back to me, see? You see, the one who never smiles just sits there. Why? Because they never stepped out the boat. I wish I had somebody. So all they know about the Lord is what somebody told them. If you listen to their testimony, let me tell you what my mama told me about Jesus. Let me tell you what my grandmama told me about Jesus. Let me tell you what my daddy told me about Jesus. But that other one, you know what I just said? That other one. See, that other one came, and when they hear the song, when they hear the sermon, they didn't just come to listen, but they came to bear witness step out of what's convenient, when you step out of what's familiar, you find out that all along it wasn't luck, it wasn't an accident, that Jesus was the one who was keeping you. And if there's anybody in true LA that's got that kind of testimony, you're not talking about what your mama said or what your daddy's here, that's got your own testimony. You can testify that I know he'll make a way out of no way. I know he'll open doors. I know he'll dry your tears. I know he'll rock you to sleep. I know he'll take care of you. I know he'll provide for you. I know he'll take care of you, baby. Is there anybody here that can say, I know God for myself? But when I got out the boat, when I stepped out the boat, when I stepped away from the boat, I found out for myself that he walks with me, that he talks with me, that he tells me that I am his own. Is there anybody here that's got that kind of testimony? Because you're trying for yourself. So if you know he's good, I mean so enough good, then open up your legs, brace yourself, throw your head back, open up your mouth, and tell God, thank you for how you walk with me. Thank you for how you talk to me. Thank you for how you kept me. Thank you that you never left me. Is there anybody here that can tell God thank you? Say it. Say it. Say it. Yeah! Listen, no matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, hear me now when I tell you, God will take care of you. Did I just say it? I said, God will take care of you. How do you know that? Listen, because where I am is not always where I've been. More often than not, when I talk about my upbringing, I talk about this woman by the name of Caledonia, East of Loneyville, Hampton Louis Yancey. Listen, when she was born, Calloway had a song called Caledonia, Why You Big Head So Hard. She was born on Easter Sunday, delivered by a midwife named Loneyville. Her maiden name was Hampton. She married Eugene Lewis. He preceded her in death. Then she married George Yancey. That made her given name Caledonia, East of Loneyville, Hampton Louis Yancey. She was my maternal great-grandmother. I just called her Big Mama. Y'all praying with me? Now the reason Big Mama raised me is because my mother was 14 when she got pregnant with me, 15 when she had me. She was a baby with a baby. I wish I had somebody. So she gave it to my Big Mama for her to raise. But my Big Mama told him, I'm going to raise him, but you're going to help with him. Let me tell you what that means. That means she dropped out of school, and she would work during the day, and then she would go to school at night. And y'all pray with me. While she was in school, she took up sewing, you all. And so every Monday, she would go to the little rag store, and they would have bundles of cloth on sale. And she would buy bundles of cloth, and she would try to make me the outfits, y'all. I wish I could tell you I was 6 months or 7 months, but I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and she was still making my clothes. Now, you know, kids can be some of the meanest folk in the world. I would be walking to the bus stop, and all the kids would start teasing me. They say, here come Chris, with them man-made clothes on. I would run all the way home, and crying. Big Mama said, what's wrong with you, boy? I said, Big Mama, they talked about me. She said, what did they say? I said, Big Mama, they said my clothes were man-made. She said, dry your face, because your mammy did make them. She said, what did I tell you? I said, Big Mama, you told me that if I stay with God, if I study hard, if I treat folk right, it won't always be this way. She said, then dry your face and act like you believe it. 2 or 3 weeks later, I come in there crying again. What's wrong with you, boy? I said, Big Mama, they talked about me. She said, what did they say? I said, Big Mama, they told me my clothes were mammy-made. She said, dry your face, because your mammy did make them. But what did I tell you? I said, Big Mama, you said if I stay with God, if I study hard, if I treat folk right, it won't always be this way. She said, then dry your face and act like you believe it. True LA, do you know why I shout like I shout? Do you know why I holler like I holler? Spurgeon? He said, no. I said, I'm going to quote Matthew Henry. He said, no. I said, what about that great Scottish preacher, Martin Luther Dale? He said, no, there'll be none of that. I said, then Lord, who should I quote so that the people will know that I'm eloquent and insightful? He said, Chris, I want you to quote that sage of the age, that contemporary preacher that nobody talks about much. I said, who was that, Lord? He said, the Reverend Mr. Forrest Gump. I said, Forrest Gump? He said, when you finish, I want you to say what he said. I said, oh, Lord. So I'm going to say what Forrest said when he finished. That's all I got to say about that.